U.S., we have no added workers. Unemployment of both men and women is rising, and labor force participation is falling, men and women overall. But you know who our added workers are? Older people, 55 and up. Both men and women are going more into the labor market in this crisis, and there are actually more women over age 55 employed today than there were at the start of this recent crisis, even though other employment has fallen. So that means the net employment for the younger is even greater, because the older women are actually, more of them are at work now. So it says something either about desperation, quite possibly, and about employers. You know, they have a choice between, I don't know, 20-year-old in a part-time job and a 60-year-old in a part-time job. Maybe we'll take the 60-year-old. They'll show up for work every day. You know, I don't know what it is. This is another example of how the crisis is affecting women and men differentially and by race. This shows that for people who had twice the median income, so these are not poor people, these are middle class and up people, they have 5 times the likelihood of having a subprime mortgage if they were a black female than if they were a white male. This is likelihood of having a subprime mortgage in America for a pretty good income group based on your race and gender. So there had to have been a lot of targeting going on, because all of these people would have qualified for mortgages at lower rates, and they didn't get them. So we have a lot of lack of regulation in the country. In this crisis also, this is 2 years ago, before the crisis officially started. These lines, the red are women, the black are men. Women were much more insecure on all these dimensions even before the crisis started. Dimensions like how you feel, are you saving enough for retirement? That's this one. Are you worried about possible cutbacks in Social Security? Have you not bought something that your children need? Are you afraid of losing your job? So women are more economically vulnerable in the United States, just as they are elsewhere. Even that tremendous success story I showed doesn't bring you all the way to equality. It certainly doesn't bring you there for female-headed families, doesn't bring you there for minorities in general, and for many white women as well. They don't have the wages. What does the success of women mean in this crisis? It means that more families are dependent on women now. In other words, the backside of our success is that they aren't just an extra earner, just a pin money earner, and when they lose a job, it doesn't matter. When they lose a job, it matters just about as much to the family as it does to men. There are as many children dependent on mother's earnings as there are dependent on father's earnings in America today, because so many of our families are, well, not mother-headed families. About 25% of children live in families with mothers only. So the sort of flip side of our success is how vulnerable families are when women do lose their jobs in America. And since we have a small government sector and a small safety net, you know, we are not as well off as the other countries, say in Europe, who have a much stronger public sector and a much stronger safety net. However, the stimulus bill is moving us in the right direction. Many of us economists would argue it is still too small. I think it is. I think we'll need another one next year. But I think we will see some effects of it by the end of this year. So we are getting more of the high-impact stimulus stuff, like food stamps, aid to the poor. That actually creates the most jobs of any other kind of spending. We have had some strong efforts, but many people argue not enough to deal with the mortgage crisis and the foreclosures and so on. The economic team, Obama's administration, estimates that 42% of the stimulus jobs will go to women, which is, as I said, their share of unemployment. And in general, it is a large stimulus effect in the right direction, but I think it could be larger. I'm also somewhat worried about how rapidly this money is going to get to create jobs, because it isn't really a public jobs program. It isn't the government saying, I'm employing you tomorrow, go build national parks, go do this, go do that. It's the government putting money down to the state governments, and the state governments looking generally for private contractors to get the money and the contracts to hire the workers to do the things. And for that reason, too, it's indirect, and our federal system, very decentralized. It's hard to make sure that women are going to get their share, especially of the better jobs. However, I was pleased to hear that when Hilda Solis testified, was it yesterday, Ariane, in the Senate, she said that women have been added to the target group for the stimulus jobs. And we attribute that to a letter we sent her just a few days ago. So, just like they read your papers, we hope that Obama and his team are reading our letters. So these are some things we need in the longer run, in addition to a stronger, better stimulus, more stimulus, is expansion of our safety net, especially unemployment insurance. This is my last slide, isn't that exciting? Expanded work and family accommodations. Spoke to a reporter from the Financial Times recently. She's been in the United States 5 weeks. She kind of knew we didn't have paid family leave, but when I told her we didn't have paid sick days, she couldn't really believe it. But half of American workers don't even have the right to a single paid sick day. So we need work and family and pre-K and a lot more anti-discrimination effort, both on pay and on equal access to jobs. So we do have a long way to go in the United States. I really thank you for including me in my country this afternoon. And I want to call your attention to one report, very short, that I thought was great, that Nancy Pelosi, Speaker Pelosi, put out called Investing in Women and Children. And it's her sort of inventory of how this stimulus package will help women and children. So it's very good, and I was very, very pleased that the Speaker of the House of Representatives felt that it was important to get this document out. Thank you.